Adventures of a Nepali Frog by Kanak Dixit. Illustrations by Subhas Rai. Chapter 12. Howling Winds of Gandaki. After the mule had finished his lunch of cornmeal and had his fill at Marfa's dugout drinking trough, the two companions traveled the few remaining kilometers north to Zomzom. This was the most important trading post of Mustang district and would be the turnaround point of Saligram. It was getting to be late morning, and Bhaktaprasad noticed that the wind had picked up. It soon grew into a howling storm, except that there were no clouds or rain. The wind came up from behind, downriver, picking up little pebbles from the ground and hitting the frog in stinging bursts. A gust picked up Bhaktaprasad's cap, and before he could reach out, it had flown beyond reach. Saligram gave chase, but the topi flew higher than the treetops before falling on a nearby field and rolling along. Just as the galloping mule's forefoot was about to step on the cap and halt its careening, it took off again, carried by a fresh gust of wind. "Go, Saligram, go!" Bhaktaprasad felt like a jockey on a racehorse. The chase continued for a while, but the heavily laden mule was no match for the airstream of the Gandaki. A strong draft suddenly picked up the topi and shot it forward into the distance, and soon it turned into a speck and disappeared as the two looked on hopelessly. Wheezing, his nostrils flaring, Saligram took some time to catch his breath. Then he said, "Sorry about that. I should have warned you." "What is with this wind?" asked the frog. As soon as he could speak, the mule replied, "The explanation is a little complex, Bhakte. As the morning sun heats up the lowlands of Nepal and India, it creates a high air pressure south of the Himalaya. The Tibetan plateau up north is cold and has low pressure, like a vacuum. The mass of air from the south naturally wants to move north, but the mountains form a barrier. The easiest way is for the air to go through the Gandaki's deep gorge, which acts like a funnel. This is why, by mid-morning, the wind picks up, heading up to Tibet." As Bhaktaprasad was trying to understand the science behind what Saligram was saying, the mule continued, "The wind can either help or hinder travels on this trail. If you are going downriver, you have to lean against it, which makes the journey harder and longer. However, if you are headed upriver, as we are, the wind pushes you along as if you were a kite." By the time the mule finished explaining the technical aspects of walking with or against the wind, they had arrived in Zomzom. Besides being a trading post and tourist stop, Zomzom had its own airfield, above which towered a huge mountain, Nilgiri. Its fluted ice columns seemed close enough to touch, but Bhaktaprasad knew that views were misleading in the highlands. What looked very close could take days of hard hopping to reach. Saligram's load was taken over by his sow. The mule was let loose on a field of green shoots, his reward for a job well done. It was now time for frog and mule to part. Bhaktaprasad took Saligram's advice and lost no time in heading north, for he had to take advantage of the high wind to push him along. The gusts were powerful, and Bhaktaprasad made quick progress. Every time he hopped, the wind took him further than he would have gone if there had been no wind. If he used to travel 2 feet at every jump, now Bhaktaprasad was airborne for 4 feet. He made double time. Bhaktaprasad was surprised to see frogs on the trail, headed the other way. They were having a hard time, of course, going against the airflow. With every hop that would have taken them 2 feet under no wind conditions, they were achieving only a single foot's advance. They would not reach Zomzom before nightfall at this rate, thought Bhaktaprasad as he whizzed past. He would have liked to have stopped and said hello to those local amphibians, but the wind would not allow it.